The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow over our small suburban neighborhood. I sat slouched on my bed, my laptop forgotten beside me, scrolling absent-mindedly through memes and videos. I was Alex, 23, freshly graduated, and currently living with my mom while trying to figure out the next step in life. The apartment smelled faintly of vanilla and laundry detergent, a comforting scent that always made the place feel like home. Mom, as usual, was bustling around the kitchen. She had that cheerful, slightly chaotic energy that could fill a room without trying. She hummed a tune, her movements graceful but exaggerated, like a small performance just for the apartment walls. "Alex," she called, her voice echoing slightly. "Come help me with something." I groaned, reluctant but obedient. Life had been a routine: school, college, work, occasional evenings out with friends, and quiet nights with Mom. But recently, things had started to feel off, like there was a part of me I wasn't fully exploring. I stepped into the living room, where Mom was holding a small makeup kit she had bought on a whim. "I was thinking," she said, tilting her head and giving me that mischievous look I knew all too well, "maybe you should try a little makeup, just to see how it feels." My heart skipped a beat. "Makeup?" I echoed, a mix of curiosity and hesitation in my voice. I'd never really experimented with it before. Sure, I'd watched tutorials online and secretly wondered what it might be like, but hearing Mom say it aloud made it feel dangerously real. "Yes," she said, eyes sparkling. "It's fun, and it doesn't have to be anything serious. Just a little eyeliner, maybe some foundation. You might surprise yourself." I stared at her, unsure whether to laugh or protest. Part of me wanted to retreat, to insist that makeup wasn't for me. But another part, an adventurous, daring part one rarely acknowledged, tingled with curiosity. What if I did try it? Just a little, just to see? Mom seemed to sense my hesitation. She came closer, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead. "Alex, I'm serious. Life is too short to ignore what might make you happy. Come on, I'll help you." That's how it started. Mom sitting beside me, guiding my hand as I nervously picked up a pencil eyeliner for the first time. My hand shook slightly, and I laughed nervously as she corrected my angle. "Not bad, actually," she exclaimed, eyes wide with genuine surprise. "You've got a natural touch." The transformation was slow at first. A touch of eyeliner, a dab of foundation, a hint of lip balm, but even these small changes were intoxicating. I caught my reflection in the mirror and blinked. The face looking back at me was still Alex, but something had shifted. The subtle changes highlighted features I'd never noticed before, emphasized my eyes, softened my jawline. I felt different. Alive in a way I hadn't expected. Mom beamed at me. "See? I told you. Makeup isn't just for women. It's for anyone who wants to express themselves." The thrill was immediate and overwhelming. It wasn't just about how I looked, it was about how I felt. Empowered, curious, vulnerable, yet confident. Every brushstroke felt like I was discovering a hidden part of myself, a side that had been dormant for years. From that night onward, it became a secret ritual. Whenever Mom went out or fell asleep early, I would experiment further. Lipsticks in shades I'd never imagined, blushes that made my cheeks glow, mascara that made my eyes pop. I tried different combinations, practiced in front of mirrors, and sometimes even recorded little clips of myself, just to see how I moved, how I smiled, how my expressions changed. There was fear too. Fear of being seen, of judgment, of ridicule. But alongside it was an undeniable thrill. I was walking a fine line between secrecy and revelation, and the adrenaline was addictive. And then, of course, there was Emma, my girlfriend, sweet and understanding, but someone who had no idea about this new part of me. The thought of showing her both terrified and excited me. How would she react? Would she tease me? Support me? Or would she think I had gone too far? For now, though, it was my secret. Mine and Mom's little adventure, a world of colors, brushes, and possibilities. Each evening became a quiet exploration of identity, a testing ground for emotions I didn't yet have the words to describe. By the end of the week, I had completely changed my evening routine. I looked forward to the moments alone with the makeup kit, savoring the way it made me feel alive, beautiful, and free. And yet, beneath all the excitement, there was a small, nagging fear. Could I stop if I wanted to? What if this became more than a hobby, something that started to define me in ways I hadn't anticipated? The line between curiosity and obsession was thinner than I realized, and I was tiptoeing along it without knowing where it might lead. But at that moment, staring at my reflection and feeling a thrill I had never known, I didn't care. I was Alex, and yet already I was someone more. Someone bolder. Someone daring to explore a world I had always wondered about but never dared enter. And Mom, standing behind me with her approving smile, was the first to witness it. "See," she said softly, "you were always meant to try this. You just didn't know it yet." I nodded, a shiver of excitement running down my spine. Little did I know this innocent experiment was only the beginning. What started with a pencil and a brush would grow into something I couldn't stop, something that would blur the lines between secret and reality, thrill and obsession, identity and transformation. And that was when I realized there was no turning back. The days after that first experiment with makeup passed in a blur of anticipation and secrecy. Each morning, I would wake up thinking about the previous night, how the foundation had made my skin glow, how the eyeliner emphasized the curve of my eyes, how the soft pink of the lip balm had given me an unfamiliar confidence. By the afternoon, I would find excuses to be alone, to retreat into my room and indulge in the little kits Mom had bought for me. At first, it was simple. Light makeup, subtle colors, nothing too bold. But the more I experimented, the more daring I became. I discovered the thrill of trying new looks, the joy of transforming my reflection into something I never thought I could be. One evening, I spent hours trying to perfect a smoky eye, smudging, blending, and wiping off mistakes, Mom laughing softly from the doorway, encouraging me with gentle advice. Despite the growing excitement, there was a constant tug-of-war inside me. I felt a mixture of pride, shame, and fear. Pride because, finally, I was exploring a side of myself I had ignored for years. Shame because the world, friends, colleagues, even Emma, might judge me harshly if they knew. Fear because every brushstroke, every new experiment, felt like stepping closer to a line I couldn't yet see. Some nights, I would catch myself in the mirror and freeze. Who was I? Alex, the shy, somewhat awkward young man trying to find his path in life, or this new, confident persona, a blend of femininity and expression I had only dreamed of? And yet, beneath it all, I couldn't deny the thrill, the addictive rush that coursed through me whenever I looked at myself with a hint of eyeliner or a streak of blush. The physical transformation was both shocking and exhilarating. Each time I applied makeup, I noticed subtle changes in how I moved, how I held myself. My posture became more deliberate, my gesture softer, my smile more cautious, yet inviting. I started wearing clothes that complemented my new looks, tight-fitting shirts, soft fabrics, colors I had never considered before. Mom encouraged me to experiment, picking out outfits that accentuated my growing confidence. High heels came next. The first pair, a modest 3-inch black heel, felt alien under my feet. Every step was a balancing act, and I stumbled more than once. But as I learned to walk gracefully, I felt the power shift subtly inside me. My movements became deliberate, seductive, and commanding in ways I had never imagined possible. Each mirror glance reinforced this growing duality within me, Alex in the world, and this new version, someone alive with confidence and charm, in my private universe. With this newfound identity came the constant thrill of secrecy. Emma remained unaware, and that made every experiment more intense. The apartment had become my playground of expression, but also my cage of tension. Each time I heard footsteps approaching, my heart would pound. Would Emma walk in unexpectedly? Would Mom notice me spending hours at the vanity when she wasn't around? The fear added spice to every moment, turning simple makeup sessions into secret adventures. One evening, I decided to try something daring. I wanted to see if I could fully transform into a version of myself that felt truly feminine. Mom watched approvingly as I tried a full set of makeup: foundation, blush, contouring, eyeliner, mascara, lipstick, and a subtle shimmer on my eyelids. I picked out a silky blouse and a short skirt Mom had suggested. The reflection that stared back at me was breathtaking. It wasn't just Alex, it was someone entirely new, yet undeniably me. I twirled in front of the mirror, laughing softly. The skirt swished with each movement, the heels clicking against the floor, and my hair, now styled and slightly curled, framed my face perfectly. Mom clapped her hands, eyes bright with excitement.
See,
This is what I meant. You were always meant to explore this side of yourself. With every session, I felt more confident, more daring. But the emotional weight grew too. The thrill of secrecy was addictive, but so was the fear of discovery. Each text from Emma, each knock on the door, made my pulse quicken. I found myself checking the locks more frequently, making sure windows were closed, and timing my sessions around Mom's schedule. Despite the secrecy, I couldn't ignore the psychological changes. The makeup wasn't just about appearance, it was a key to a part of me I had long suppressed. I felt liberated, playful, vulnerable, and powerful all at once. It was intoxicating, and the thought of stopping seemed impossible. The tension escalated when I decided to take small steps outside the apartment. I wore subtle makeup to run errands, carefully watching people's reactions. Some glanced curiously, others didn't notice at all. Each encounter filled me with a mixture of fear and excitement. I realized that part of the thrill came not just from transformation, but from existing in a world that didn't expect me to look the way I did. Emma still remained blissfully unaware. Our interactions took on a new layer of tension. I started imagining how she would react if she ever saw me like this. Would she laugh? Be intrigued? Judge me? Every time I met her, I felt a mix of longing and fear, wondering when, or if, I would ever reveal this new side of myself. Mom remained my silent confidant and cheerleader. She shared tips, suggested products, and even modeled certain looks for me to try. Our late-night sessions became ritualistic, almost like therapy disguised as play. She encouraged me to embrace both the feminine and masculine parts of my identity, to explore without shame. Yet, Mom's encouragement came with its own tension. Sometimes, I feared I was becoming too reliant on her guidance, too obsessed with transformation. But every time I looked in the mirror, I couldn't resist. The thrill, the power, the subtle rebellion against ordinary life. It was intoxicating. As the days passed, my secret world became increasingly intricate. I learned contouring, experimented with bold lip colors, and mastered the art of walking in heels without wobbling. But the fear of discovery loomed larger. Emma's random visits, the possibility of neighbors noticing, even my own growing obsession, all of it built an invisible tension that seemed ready to snap. And then, one evening, while fully transformed and practicing my expressions in the mirror, I heard a faint knock on the door. My heart leapt. Was it Emma? A neighbor? Or something else entirely? The moment felt suspended in time, a heartbeat away from revelation or disaster. I froze, heels clicking softly against the floor as the knock repeated, sharper this time. The makeup, the outfit, the persona I had built, everything depended on what I would do next. My mind raced with possibilities, every scenario more suspenseful than the last. I realized then, with a jolt, that this secret, this experiment, was no longer just about fun or self-expression. It had become a test of courage, identity, and desire. How far would I go to protect it? How much risk was worth the thrill? And most importantly, was I ready to confront the world outside the apartment? Or was this intoxicating freedom only safe behind locked doors and closed curtains? The knock at the door lingered in the silence, echoing in my chest like a warning bell. I froze mid-step, the heels suddenly feeling like spikes through my feet. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me. Alex, but not Alex. Soft curls framed my face, eyeliner emphasized the curve of my lashes, and the subtle pink blush gave me a look that was entirely new, yet undeniably me. Every inch of my body was alert, trembling with excitement and fear. "Who's there?" I whispered, my voice faltering between masculine and feminine tones. The knock came again, more insistent this time. I clutched the hem of my skirt, my heart hammering. Whoever it was didn't know me like this. Could I hide it in time? It was Emma. Somehow, she had returned earlier than expected. My stomach twisted as I imagined her walking into the room and seeing me like this, vulnerable, transformed, completely exposed. I backed away from the mirror, high heels clicking softly on the wooden floor, every step a dangerous game. "Alex? Are you here?" Emma's voice floated through the hallway, casual, but with an edge of curiosity. Panic surged through me. My secret life, my thrilling experiments, it all teetered on the edge of exposure. I considered running, hiding in the closet, pretending nothing was amiss. But part of me, a reckless, daring part, wanted to see her reaction, wanted to test the boundary between fear and desire. I took a deep breath and moved toward the door, my movements delicate, cautious. The skirt swished softly, the heels forcing each step to be measured. Every instinct screamed at me to stop, to flee, to reclaim the world I had built in secrecy. But another part of me, the side that had flourished in front of mirrors and under Mom's guidance, demanded courage. Emma appeared in the doorway, her eyes widening slightly.
"Wow.
"Alex? Is that really you?" she asked, her tone teasing but uncertain. My pulse quickened. How much did she notice? Did she understand what this meant? I forced a laugh, trying to sound casual, though the tremor in my voice betrayed me. Yeah, just experimenting," I stammered. My hand reached up, brushing a curl behind my ear, and I realized that even the smallest gesture now felt loaded with meaning. Before I could explain further, another sound sliced through the tension, a sudden doorbell from the apartment entrance. My heart sank. A delivery? A neighbor? Someone who could see me like this? I glanced at Emma, whose expression had shifted from surprise to concern. I'll get it," she said, moving toward the door. I panicked, knowing she didn't understand the full situation. If she opened it, anyone could see me in this state. I grabbed her wrist gently.
Wait.
"Don't, please, just a second." Emma paused, looking at me quizzically. The blush on my cheeks, the subtle shiver of fear. I could see her curiosity spike. I realized in that instant how exposed I truly was. Not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically. This was more than a secret. This was a test of identity, desire, and courage all rolled into one. I turned back to the mirror, catching my reflection once more. The image staring back at me was no longer just a playful experiment. It was a full embodiment of the persona I had cultivated. Every detail, from the curled hair to the high heels, symbolized my dual existence. One misstep, one exposure, and it could all unravel. In a moment of reckless bravery, I smiled at myself, then turned to Emma. I like it," I admitted softly, my voice shaking. "I like being this me." Her eyes softened, a hint of a smile forming. "You look amazing," she whispered. The tension eased slightly, replaced by an unexpected warmth. But before I could breathe fully, the doorbell rang again, sharp and insistent. I froze. The world outside my safe experimentation was closing in. Emma looked at me, concerned. "Who's at the door?" she asked. My mind raced. Should I reveal everything? Should I run and hide? Should I trust Emma to keep my secret? I realized then that this moment would define everything. My secret, my identity, the persona I had built, it all depended on the next few seconds. I could feel the weight of judgment, acceptance, and desire pressing down on me simultaneously. Emma, sensing my hesitation, reached for the door. I grabbed her hand again, softer this time, letting her see the vulnerability in my eyes. "Not yet," I murmured. "Please let me explain first." The rush of fear and excitement was overwhelming. Part of me wanted to escape, to retreat into the safety of my old identity. Another part of me wanted to embrace this fully, to step into the persona that had given me so much confidence and joy. The duality was unbearable and yet intoxicating. I took a deep breath, steadying my trembling hands. "Emma, I've been experimenting," I said slowly, deliberately. "With makeup, with how I look, how I feel. It's me. I can't stop." Her eyes widened, a mix of surprise, curiosity, and something I couldn't immediately read. The room seemed to hold its breath. Outside, the doorbell rang again, as if the universe itself were testing my courage. The suspense was unbearable. Any second now, the door could open, exposing my secret to the world. Emma's gaze held mine, searching, questioning. I realized that the outcome, acceptance, rejection, or judgment, was entirely out of my control. I took a tentative step closer to her, heels clicking softly against the floor, skirt swishing with each movement. My reflection in the mirror caught my eye one last time. Alex was gone. In his place was someone new, someone bold, someone ready to face the world, at least for a moment. The doorbell rang again, urgent, impossible to ignore. Emma looked at me, eyes wide. I knew in that instant that whatever happened next would define not just this moment, but the very essence of who I was and who I could become. I reached for the doorknob, my heart pounding, every muscle tense. "Emma, I think we should see who it is," I whispered. Her hand squeezed mine, uncertain, and together we moved toward the door. Every step felt like a lifetime. I glanced at the mirror, seeing both Alex and the persona I had cultivated. One wrong move, one glance from the wrong person, and it would all come crashing down. The doorbell rang again, louder, more insistent. And then silence. The moment hung in the air, suspended between revelation and disaster. Who was at the door? Would my secret be exposed? Could I maintain this dual life? Or was this the beginning of the end? The silence after the last doorbell felt deafening. My heartbeat thundered in my chest, echoing louder than the city outside. Emma and I stood frozen, our hands still touching, a fragile bridge between my secret world and the reality that threatened to crush it. I could feel the warmth of her palm against mine, a small comfort amid the chaos, but even that couldn't erase the fear gnawing at my insides. "Alex, do you want me to open it?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Her eyes searched mine for reassurance. I swallowed hard, unsure whether to trust fate or to hide behind the fragile persona I had crafted so carefully. "No, wait," I said softly, trying to steady my voice. The words felt weak even to me, but there was no turning back now. "Not yet. I need a moment." I glanced at the mirror, catching my reflection one last time. The soft curls, the gentle blush, the high heels, they all screamed of a new identity I hadn't fully dared to embrace until now. And yet, with each passing second, the weight of secrecy pressed down harder. One slip, one unexpected glance from Emma or anyone else could unravel everything. Outside, the doorbell rang again, sharper, almost impatiently. The sound felt like a countdown clock, each chime marking a moment closer to discovery. My mind raced. What if it was a neighbor? A delivery person? Or worse, someone who could expose me completely? Emma's grip on my hand tightened, pulling me back to the present. "Alex, what is going on?" she asked, her curiosity mixed with genuine concern. I hesitated, the truth teetering on my lips. Could I tell her? Could I reveal the duality I'd been hiding, the thrill and fear of exploring this new persona? I opened my mouth, but no words came. Instead, I felt the familiar rush of vulnerability, a tingling mix of fear and excitement that had become almost addictive. My cheeks burned, not just from embarrassment, but from the realization that Emma might finally see me as I truly was. Before I could decide, Emma moved toward the door, and I had no choice but to follow. The air was thick with tension, my every step deliberate, heels clicking softly on the floorboards. The door swung open slowly, and there stood a figure I didn't expect. The visitor's face was obscured, but I could see the outline of a familiar coat and a bag slung over the shoulder. My mind raced. How much did they know? How much could they see? My reflection in the hallway mirror caught my eye again, and I realized just how fragile my secret truly was. Emma stepped aside, her eyes wide, a question lingering unspoken in the air. I wanted to say something, anything, but my voice caught. My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure the visitor could hear it. "Hi, is Alex here?" the voice asked, neutral, polite, but every syllable felt like a probe, piercing the fragile veil of my secret. I froze, unsure whether to step forward or retreat. Emma looked at me, her expression unreadable. I could feel the adrenaline spike, a mix of terror and thrill coursing through me. The persona I had carefully crafted, the curls, the makeup, the skirts, the heels, was on the verge of being revealed, and the world outside the apartment seemed to hold its breath along with me. I caught my reflection one last time, in the full-length mirror by the hallway. Alex, the person I had been, and the new persona, the me I had become under Mom's guidance, stared back at me simultaneously. The line between fear and excitement blurred. One misstep, and everything could unravel, but the thrill of living this secret life, even for a few moments, was intoxicating. I reached for Emma's hand again, a silent plea passing between us. I don't know what to do," I whispered, my voice trembling. She squeezed my hand, uncertain but supportive, and I knew that whatever happened next would change everything. The visitor shifted slightly, and I felt my breath catch. My pulse raced, my body trembling in anticipation, fear, and a strange, exhilarating joy. The visitor took a step closer. The door remained ajar, the hallway light spilling onto the floor. I glanced at Emma, then back at the mirror. The reflection of my dual selves stared back, watching, waiting, as if aware that the next moment could decide my fate. And then, the screen fades to black.